admit everyone. All right, 9 a.m. Let me just get this here. Nice, we have a lot of people in here. Okay, let me get the recording going so we get everything going properly. Now we have some, okay, background noise here. Let me just mute you. Okay, recording. Where are you, my recording? So, record to the cloud. Okay, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning for those of you here on the West Coast. Good afternoon for you in the East Coast and in the Mountain Time Zone as well. I want to thank you all for being here and participating with us in this presentation, where we're going to be talking about our education courses. Before we get started, I'd like to do some housekeeping here, okay? So if you do, this is going to be a conversation that we're going to have about Passive House courses, and I'd like to ask you to raise your hand if you have any questions, but please try to keep the questions to the end, because during the presentation, we might be able to reply your questions in the meantime. Okay, so before we get going, I'd like to throw in one poll for you. If you do bear with me and reply to this poll, I'd appreciate it. So I'm launching the poll now. So three quick questions. If you can take 30 seconds, I'd appreciate. Not going to take too long because I'm going to be mindful of your time. I know how much time is precious nowadays, so I'll just keep our presentation to 1 hour as we agreed on it. So I see, that's good. I see some answers coming up. I'll give 10 more seconds and I'll close the poll. That's great. That's great. That's nice to see, though. All right, we have 70 people now, and I have 53 answers. If you can, or if you wish to open your camera, that would be nice, so I can see some faces, because it's sometimes for you to be doing, a presentation by yourself and not seeing any faces, it's not as easy, and it's nice to see some familiar faces. If I'm looking this direction, it's not because I'm looking not at you, because my presentation is here, so I'll be looking at you this way. All right, perfect. I'll end the poll here and I'll share the results. So for you to know, so are you a Passive House Canada member? So 29% is, 71% is not. That's great. That's great. Have you worked in a Passive House project before? 25% said yes. Beautiful. I like that. And 75 didn't. And did you take any of our Passive House courses? Yes, we have 30%, and no, 70%. Amazing. So I'll stop sharing the results now, and let's get started. So Passive House Canada acknowledges the ancestral and unceded territory of all Métis, Inuit, and First Nations people that call this land home. I myself acknowledge that I live, work, and play within the territories of the Lekwungen peoples, represented by the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, and the Wi-Senech people, represented by the Starlip, Ponquanchi, Sayout, Sincum, and Malahat nations. The first people have been here since the time of immemorial, and their history in this area is long and rich. So I'd like to acknowledge that. Okay, so who is this guy talking to you? My name is Luiz Bezerra. I'm a senior manager at Passive House Canada. As my background, just to give you a brief overview, I'm a civil engineer, certified Passive House designer, and proudly, I was the project manager and the certified Passive House designer for the first certified Passive House in South America, located in my hometown, Brazil. So yes, I'm Brazilian, and I have some experiences working with Passive House, and that would be nice to hear your experiences once we have some time on. Okay, brief agenda. So we're going to be speaking today about, I'm going to be introducing who's Passive House Canada, for those of you who are not members or might not know us. We're going to be talking about the courses. What courses does Passive House Canada offer? Our initiatives, upcoming schedules, investments, and membership. Okay? So if any of those questions are going to be related to you and what you want to learn about it, so if it's on the agenda, you might wait to raise your hand to ask your questions, but any questions will be more than welcome for us to talk to. Okay, so I always like to start with why does Passive House Canada exist, right? I guess it's always about the why. So we exist to make zero emission buildings known and adopted by government, industry, and the public. We are here to support government and industry in the transition to high performance buildings through education, certification, and policy development. And we're here at the end of the day, I guess it's everyone's missions now to make our planet a better place for us and the future generation. How do we do that? Passive House, we do advocate for the Passive House Institute building standard, globally recognized as the best standard for high performance buildings. We advocate for construction best practices and the best choices for carbon neutral materials. We advocate for better buildings where people would have year-round healthy indoor air quality and temperature, quiet and comfortable throughout the changing seasons, substantial reduction in energy use and operating costs, simple use, durable systems, priceless peace of mind. That's how we do it. And at the end of the day, who's Passive House Canada? We're a membership-based social enterprise where we advocate for the things that I mentioned before. We do education and professional development. We do technical services, and we're here to help our members, staff, and instructors located all across Canada. So we're a national organization. Just as I started, as we were talking about education, education is the passport for the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Main question that you're probably asking yourselves right now, the most common questions that we do have, what is the right course for me? And I'm sorry, but it's the worst answer ever. It depends. Unfortunately, it does depend. It depends on where you are in your life. It depends on your career. It depends on your background. It depends on what you want to know and how much you want to learn. So I'm going to start with the Passive House for starters. So let's say you're a homeowner or you're just a curious person and you just want to see a little bit. Passive House has supports for you. So where should I start? We do have the basic course, which we call the 50 course. This course is pre-recorded. It takes around 4 hours of videos. And we do recommend for homeowners and realtors. You know, it gives you a very brief overview of what is Passive House. If you want to take the next step a little bit further, we recommend you to take the Introduction to Passive House High Performance Buildings, which is the 90 course. How does this course behave? It's live, online, unfortunately not in person yet, but we're going to get there, where we take 8 hours of your precious times. We don't take it, right? We actually get you to learn about Passive House in 8 hours. So we do 4 meetings, 2 hours per meetings, and you're going to be interacting with an instructor right in front of you. And the idea is, I do believe that education, it's always a two-way street. So that's the reason why we try to do all of our courses live, okay? So it's recommended for developers, project coordinators, subcontractors, component suppliers, architects, engineers, and so on and so on. And I don't have to read it for you. This course will give you a better overview of the Passive House standard, but it's still a little bit too shallow depending on where you want to go with your career. Okay? So let's say you took the 90 course and you're like, okay, what's next? You don't want to know more. So we have what we call the pathway to certification. You understand that depending if you are an architect, a designer, curious people, or you want to start a brand new career, we can offer you the pathway to designer consultant certification. A lot of people ask, what is this pathway, Luis? So this pathway is nothing more than 3 courses that you're going to run through and get the knowledge you need to tackle what we call the Certified Passive House Designer Consultant certification. So what it does is it takes you to 3 courses. I'm going to mention them right now, but I'm going to explain to you what they are individually. So the first one would be the Passive House Design and Construction, what we call the 120A. Step 2 would be the 120B, Understanding and Working with the PHPP. The PHPP, you learn a little bit more about it. It's the Passive House Planning Package. The 120C, which is the online preparation for Passive House Designer Consultant exam, 120C, and then you take the exam. A lot of people ask myself, Luis, why should I take the exam? That's quality assurance. At the end of the day, if you don't have an exam, how can you prove that you know about the subject? I know it's a little bit tough. The exam actually takes you to a lot of stress. I'm not going to lie to you, but you can have peace of mind that 90% of the people who take our pathway to certification pass on this exam the first time they take the exam. So if you fail, you can take it again. And and we normally have 100% after the first exam. Luis, do I have to take all 3 courses? No, you don't. You can take them separately. It depends on your availability and it depends on how much you want to learn. Now we talk about the courses individually. So what is the Passive House Design and Construction? This course is live online. We do only have instructors that knows about Passive House. They're certified Passive House Designer Consultants, and they have experience building passive houses. So you're going to be talking to the top-notch people in Canada when it comes to passive house. How long does it take? It's a 32-hour course. So we're talking about 8 meetings, 4 hours per meeting. And it's recommended for those that you I actually mentioned here and recommended. So that's where your journey begins. A lot of you might be asking right now, Luis, what is the difference between designer and consultant? That's a question that we have all the time. What is the difference? PHI, which is the Passive House Institute, they created this 2 different names translated to English. At the end of the day, they're the same thing. It means that you go through the same process. The designer side of things, they imagine that would be the ones that actually work in the project as as you can make changes during the design process. Engineers, architect technologists. So it feels like that you are the ones working towards the project. The consultants are going to be anyone else who doesn't have those designations. For example, I can be a person who is graduated in economics, but you can pass on the exam and you can become a passive house consultant. You can be a homeowner, but you don't have any degrees as engineers and architects, and you're going to be a consultant. At the end of the day, it's the same process, and you will have the same content to go through. It's just a matter of how PHI try to divide those things, but in my opinion, they're the same thing. Consultant design, it doesn't really make any difference. So just to give a brief overview of the 120A, as I mentioned, you're going to have 8 meetings. In day 1, you're going to learn about the passive house principles and building envelopes. Day 2, you're going to talk about airtightness. Day 3, you're going to talk about thermal bridges. Day 4, windows. Day 5, ventilation. Day 6, heating, cooling, domestic hot water. Day 7, economics. And day 8, quality assurance, design tools, and certification. Then what you do, if you're a consultant designer, you need to understand about the tool. So the tool that you're going to be using for certification, it's called the PHP, Passive House Planning Package. What is this, Luis? It's an Excel sheet, a very robust Excel sheet that you actually put all your design in it, and you pre-certify the house with the information you have. So everything you do it in your design, you put on PHP, and then you check if it would be hitting the outcomes that you're supposed to be hitting. You're going to learn more. I'm not going to go into the details, but how long does it take? How much time do you have to invest? 24 hours, meaning 6 meetings, 4 hours per meeting. This course is more of a hands-on, which means you're going to model a single family home. A lot of people ask, Luis, what about a Part 3 buildings or high-rises commercials? The standard works the same way in every single typology of building because it only applies to physics, and physics don't change. So it doesn't have a lot of difference. The difference is complexity. So why would you start in a multifamily home if you're only starting your career in passive house design? So we do start with a single family home. That's what you're going to be learning on the PHP, the 120B course. After that, you get your preparation for the exam. Let's say, Luis, I just want to take the 120A and B. You're fine with it. That's not a problem. Do I need to take the 120C to pass on the exam? No, you don't. But your chances will definitely increase, because that's where you're going to see and learn how to tackle the exam itself. You're going to learn how to do exercises, the design, and so on and so on. So this course is recommended for those who are taking the exam designer consultants designation. Time investment, 4 meetings, 4 hours per meeting. And believe me, once you're done with this, your mind is going to be spinning. I mean, like the 120A and B are brutal already with a lot of content, but the 120C, it's just amazing the amount of exercise that you're going to cover through this course. After that, what do? You take your exam, online exam. Oh, by the way, all the courses, again, 120A, B, and C, they are live online. So you have your instructor guiding you through the whole process. So it's really important to tell you this, because you're not going to be listening to pre-recorded videos. You're going to be able to interact and ask questions real time. Okay, so this is a big deal. I did not tell you this, but all of our courses are going to be recorded for you. So let's say you have to miss one day. You're going to have under your Passive House Canada account that video for you to rewatch. And once you're done in the course and you need to refer back to that, you can always go back until you take your exam. Okay? How does the exam work? The exam is 3.5 hours from the start to the end. You have 32 questions, including a design task. And how do you pass? You need 50% of it. 50% of it. And believe me, it's not the hardest thing in the world you're going to be doing, but you do need a strategy. I'm not going to go down deep dive on this one, but if you do decide to take our Pathway to Certification, I myself can help you even with your studies schedule, because as I've been in your shoes, so I will know what you're feeling. All right. So we talked about a little bit about the design and consultant certification, but now we have one of the most important certifications that we need right now. Passive House Canada, last year we trained over 1,600 people across Canada, and we only train 115 tradespeople. So what does it mean? We need to scale this up. Tradesperson, how does it work? We also have a pathway to certification for trades, which will be, composed by 3 courses, okay? Those 3 courses now, thank goodness, we're back to in-person, and we're going to be able to have as it used to be. Because for the trades course, we do believe that the hands-on is one of the most important things that we have. Just before I go on, Passive House Canada Pathway to Certification for Tradesperson, we have a 100% approval rate for those who take our certification. The exam is not the hardest thing in the world, because our students, they actually go through a lot of theoretical and practical, which help them take the exam. Even though I know that some people are just to listen about the exam world, just the exam word kind of freaks out a little bit, but this one you shouldn't. So what do? You go for the Passive House training course, which goes through the theoretical, which what we call the 150A. We have the 150B, which is the practical, and we have the 150C, which is the exam prep as well. And then you take your exam and you become a certified Passive House tradesperson. Passive House construction training course for trades, 150A, theoretical, live online. But now, as I said before, we're back to in-person. We're going to have this course in BC, Vancouver, and one in Nova Scotia, and we want to go all the way to Canada again. So how long does it take, Luis? You have 12 hours, which is 3 meetings of 4 hours per meeting. And this is what is recommended for, okay? This is where your journey is going to begin as a tradesperson. A lot of people decide when they're trades, they decide to take just the 150 A and B due to the fact that you get all the theory and you get the hands-on experience, and then you don't want the certification. But believe me, the certification, take this as an investment that will actually, you will have this quality assurance for you to go through, your bidding and the process and the houses that you're actually going to be taking on. It's not someone that would just tell you, okay, I've done training, but how do you prove it? So that's a quality assurance that we need to, push forwards as well. So the 150B, that's the one in person. Due to COVID, Passive House Canada, we actually did this 150B, even though it's online, but we sent boxes with samples, and we had a class as well to talk about the products and everything, the particularities of each product. But right now we're back. So this course actually takes 12 hours as well, 3 meetings, 4 hours per meeting. Luiz, how does it work, the in-person course? You have mornings theoretical, and you have afternoons, you have practical. So 3 days in a row. So that's how the trades course work, okay? So what do you do? What is the hands-on component that you have? What you do is, first day, you do an air tightness testing. You learn how to set up, you go through it, and it can be done in any facility because you're just testing the air tightness. So you're not there to test if it's passed or not. You're there to learn how to do it. Second day, we do a Windows installation. That's the one that will guarantee you to actually, let's say, avoid any undesirable leakages. And we do also, you stuff with insulation, you put membranes around, and then you do this practical delivery. And then on the third day, we do the ventilation system, where you're going to be learning about ventilation, and you're going to be seeing a ventilation system in operation, and you're going to learn how it works and what are the common mistakes that people actually do it whenever they're putting the ventilation system together. The 150C, right now it's only live online and will take 4 hours, just one meeting, and it's recommended for those of you who'd like to take the exam. And the exam itself. So the exam is 3 hours long, where you're going to have to pass on 3 different processes. It's on the same exam, okay? You have 18 questions about Passive House basics. You have 15 questions on building envelope specialization, and you have 13 questions on building services specialization. The thing about the trades course is you need 50% on each of it. So you need 50% on number 1, 50% number 2, and 50% number 3. Luiz, let's say I did not pass on the building services, but I passed on the envelope. You're good. You still get your certificate, but you're going to have only the specialization on building envelope. So it depends on what you want. So if you want to do the building services, you can do it, but you can choose to do just one specialization in the exam itself. Normally, my recommendation is do it all. If you fail on the one, it's fine. If you pass on the other one, it's also fine. So it means it's just a little bit of time that you that you're going to take. And then we go to the next step. Now I'm certified. What's next? That we go with the master classes. What are these master classes are for? That's where we actually deep dive in a little bit more of the process. Because in the beginning, you're learning about Passive House, and now we're just going to go deep dive in every master class that we have. First master class that I'm going to be presenting to you is Achieving the Passive House Standard for Existing Buildings. This is a retrofit class. I know some of you here in this meeting already took this course. This is a course that we take 16 hours, 4 meetings, 4 hours per meeting. So it's recommended for everyone engaged in the design and rehabilitation of existing buildings to the Passive House standards, architects, tradesperson, and building owners. You will learn whenever you get your certification as a designer, consultant, or a tradesperson, you will need to renew your certification each 5 years. For designing consultants, you're going to need 100 points in 5 years. For tradespeople, you're going to need 50 points in 5 years. This is nothing, guys. I mean, like, honestly, if you do it properly within the 5 years, you can done pretty quickly. Problem is, a lot of people comes to us and say, hey, Luiz, I only have a month, and now I need 100 points. So sorry, man, you're not going to be able to do it unless you stop working and you just start taking classes. So those are the things that you actually can get it as well. You have credits, and you learn a little bit more about it, okay? So that's one of the classes that we do. This is one of the classes that we have most sold out nowadays because retrofit became a let's say a new trend here in Canada. As we know, we have many houses to be built and we have many houses to be retrofitted as well. Second masterclass, a pattern language for passive house. This is also live online. We're hopefully going to get this class going anytime soon in person. This one is a little bit shorter. You have 4 meetings, 3 hours per meeting. But this class is really amazing due to the fact, I don't know if you know this book called Pattern Language. It's from architectures, and it actually helps you to develop, let's say, repetition that will take your costs down and will help you tackle regular problems that you do on passive houses. So this course is taught by Monty Polson. He's with RDH, and this course will provide you with 16 units. Okay, so the courses is you're gonna get some 4 sessions. The first one is context and form. Second session is materials and assembly. Third session is windows and overheating. Fourth section would be affordable mechanical systems. If you do have any questions at some point, please raise your hand, put on the chat, whatever you need to know. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on the chat. And please let me know if I'm going too fast, but I want to leave time at the end for you to ask your questions, and I just don't want to take a lot of your time. I'm going to share with you as well the presentation so you can have all the information for you to refer back whenever you have some more time, okay? The second masterclass that I'd like to mention to you is the Flexo training. You will learn on the 128 that one of the biggest, let's say, villains that we have in a passive house are thermal bridges. Not passive house, but any type of buildings. I mean, like now living in my house, whenever you see a building, after you finish the thermal bridge course, you're going to see thermal bridges everywhere. So believe me, it's just amazing how much heat we lose through thermal bridges, for those of you who don't know. And this course will actually get you ready to calculate those thermal bridges and avoid them, okay? So for those of you who don't know, Flexo is a software where you actually do some calculations on thermal bridges. It's one of the topics that nowadays people who do work with thermal bridges are beginning to realize this is a market that is not explored yet. So you can actually start doing thermal bridge calculations for different companies. In this course, I highly recommend it. It's taught by our own manager of technical services, Chris Petit. And you're going to have 4 meetings with him. This course actually gives you a free license for 1 year, included in the price. So you're saving that because you have to buy it. So you have this already included in the price. About price-wise, I'm going to show it to you later. So what does it go through? You have identifying thermal bridge protocols, Flexo walkthrough, in-class demonstration of modeling of several important thermal bridge types. Tips and tricks for projects with large amounts of thermal bridges, and Flexo practice. Next, master classes. You see that the master classes nowadays, guys, becoming more and more spread out because we need more expertise. Canada and the world, we need to do more master classes. Okay, Valerie, this is a good question, so I'm going to just refer to this question very quickly. So Valerie asks, are the master classes primarily for those who are passive house certifier or good for anyone with an interest in the area? Valerie, some of them I would advise you to be, just due to the fact that you have knowledge, or if you took the 128, you can take any of the master classes. So the idea is just make sure that you have some passive house knowledge before joining the master classes. But for example, the pattern language, you don't have to have. Ideally, you would, but you don't have to have. Let's say the Flexo course, unless you know about building physics, unless you know a lot about thermal bridges, I would say, okay, you could do it. And the retrofit, believe it or not, we have homeowners who only took the 128. They enjoyed the course, and it's really something that you can do it. I see the thumbs up right there, John. Yes, but you can do the retrofit as well if you have any expertise, but you don't have to know all the content. But ideally, you should have at least some knowledge on passive houses, okay? How many people, okay, let me just read this one here, Kevin. So let me just go through a little bit more and I'll go back to the questions so I don't go over 1 hour. So I'll just be right back. So this one from Nijin, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, is a first training happening in Toronto as well? Is in-person training happening in Toronto as well? Yes, we are. I'm just in the works in the backgrounds for that to happen. We want to have the trades course first, as in person, and some of the classes will happen as well in person. So Nijen, just keep an eye on our newsletter and our website. But hopefully we're gonna get this going anytime soon now. Okay, let me just keep moving here. So this one is building enclosure and other master classes. This one is taught by Graham Finch from RDH. So this one is really interesting due to the fact that people normally tend not to understand the barriers that we have in our homes and in our wall assemblies. So this one is called the building enclosure control layers. You're going to understand how does each membrane work, where to put your insulation, is it inside, is it outside, the air tightness layer, how it works. So this is a lot about building physics. And how long does it take? You're going to have 8 hours, 4 meetings, again, live online, okay? And you have all the sessions and how they're going to work. Luis, I just want to take one of those sessions. Can I do it? Yes, you can. I highly recommend you to take at least the first one, and then you choose the other ones. But if you can take it all, do it. It's only 2 hours per class. And you see the schedule. It's really spread out, so you don't have to commit 8 hours in a row. So it's 2 hours each meeting, so you actually have time. And as recommended, the recommendations are there, and also gives you PHI credits. So I'm also referring back to PHI credits because these are the ones that you're going to need for you to renew your certification. We also have what we call the built-in Canada. So if you're a Passive House Canada member, if you're not, I highly recommend you to become one, because through membership, we do a lot of our work, and we do a lot for our members as well. This is one of the examples. We do this built-in Canada, which is a webinar series that we started last year, where we go around Canada and Passive House projects. I don't know if any of you have been in any of the built-in Canada, but what you learn is the Passive House community, we're really open to help. It's not a community that you just want to keep for yourself, the lessons learned. And built-in Canada proves that, because volunteers come in and they talk about their projects. And we're going to have our second session now in March. So if you consider becoming a Passive House member, please join us. And if you're already a Passive House member, you just go and sign in. It's free for you. And we're going to have this one, Kim Walton. She's going to be talking about Passive House in BC. And it's going to be a cold climate. A lot of people think about BC only, the cool temperate, nice climate, easy for passive houses. No, man. I mean, like if you go up north, BC actually gets the cold and the tough as well. So please be mindful of this one. It's a very nice project. Okay. In every one of those webinars, we do grant you 2 PHI credit units. Also, again, live online. Okay. Luis, what about self-paced courses? We do have self-paced courses. Okay. We normally don't offer a lot of them because I do believe that, again, education is a two-way street and we like interaction. But we do believe that softwares are easier if you have the videos, and then you can do on your own pace. And we have the up and running with Design PH 2.0. And you might be asking yourself, what is Design PH? So Design PH, it's a plugin for SketchUp. So you need to know a little bit about SketchUp to tackle this one. How does Design PH help your life? Believe me, Design PH will take at least 50% of your time off whenever you're going to be modeling any houses on the PHVP. You actually have this as a tool for you to present to your clients your project in minimal changes, how they're going to impact, the amount of energy you're going to be consuming. So this is a very powerful tool that you're going to be able to use it. And you're going to make your life way easier when it comes to making changes, rotating, changing windows, changing the type of insulation. And once you have this going, you understand how great this is. Believe me, I've used it a couple of times. It does help you a lot. Okay. This is over 12 hours. It's close to 13 hours in videos. It's done by Ed May. I like to say that Ed May is the guru of those softwares around the globe. And the way he teaches is it just amazes me. Andre has a good question here. Does Design PH available in Revit? No, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It's just available for SketchUp for now, Andre. I mean, like this is a plugin designed by PHI, and it does help yourself a lot, but unfortunately, you're kind of tied up to SketchUp. Okay. Hot topic right now. I know some of you might be here just to listen to grants and fundings. How to apply. You see the link right there. It's going to be in blue, and it shows you that it's a hyperlink where it will take you to the place that you're going to be able to learn more about it. Passive House Canada, we do have an expert, two experts, I'd like to say, in funding and grants. His face is right here. You know, this beautiful guy called Dave Robinson. You know, he has all the charming, you know, and he's the expert on grants. And also Caroline Thibault as well. Carol is our education lead, and she does help a lot as well when it comes to grants and fundings. Dave is our expert. Carol also knows a lot about it. I don't know a lot, so please be mindful of your questions. I might dodge some bullets, but we'll definitely get back to you on all the questions that you have. But I'd like to let you know how you get to it, you know, in our website. So you're going to see there's a page called Resources on the top. And then it's kind of a drop-down menu. You put the mouse on it and just funding opportunities. And this is what you will see. So every province has their own particularities, okay? And then you have to apply through this funding that is a national, all right? And then you're going to see, if you scroll down, you're going to have per province. And at the end, at the bottom of the page, you have this fill out for you to go through, and then you ask your question, and we're going to gladly get back to you. And believe me, we have grants around the Canadian through Canada, and a lot of people are using this grant. So Leo asks, has Passive House Canada developed and delivered training on awareness targeting? Good point, my friend, especially retrofitting existing structures. We haven't get that yet, but there's something that we do, Leo, for First Nations right now. I mean, like, we're trying to recognize our past, and we're trying to do our best. We have done a lot of trade sports with First Nations, and what we're doing now, just linking to your question, is we're committed to providing support for lasting change in housing and economic development in Indigenous communities across Canada. We're pleased to be offering limited enrollment to any of our individual Passive House courses to those of Indigenous heritage, including Métis, First Nations, and Inuit. This offer is available on a first-come, first-served basis, with limited monthly enrollment available for individuals. So what we're doing now, Leo, and everyone else in this call, we're offering free courses, 2 free courses per month for First Nations. And it's the least that we've been doing. Hopefully, we're going to be increasing this at any time now. We started it this year, and the idea is we do need to do more. You know, not only on the trade side of perspective, designers as well, but Passive House Canada, we are aware, and we're trying to do our best, you know, to give it back for the First Nations. And how do you find this? There's a website again. I like to put those screenshots to make it a little bit easier in your lives. So I just don't tell you, hey, go to our website and find it. No, I'll give you the way. So that's how you find it, okay? And at the end of the presentation, the final slides is going to have the info at Passive House Canada, where you can actually ask for those courses and more information on the Indigenous initiative that we started. Now, here it goes. If you're interested in taking our courses, I put a hyperlink for you there. I'm going to be sharing the presentation in a bit. Just give me a few more minutes. And we have the Passive House Canada calendar. When it's starting? So our schedule, our pathway to certification. The first one, I'm sorry, it's the design and consultant. I mean, like, I just missed the 2 final important words. We have one starting now in March 8th. We have another one starting April 5th. And again, you see the 128 always refers back to the pathway to certification because it's on the same course, but it just takes individually. So for March and April, we also have the 120B starting as well. One's in March 19th, and the other one is in April 12th. Again, I put the hyperlink. Whenever you have the PDF file, just click on it. It will make your life easier. In person, we do have scheduled for in person as well. So Nova Scotia, if you're in Nova Scotia, we're going to be sold out pretty soon. I don't know if we're already sold out, Carol. I know you know those numbers way better than I do, but as our last meeting yesterday, we still had 2 seats for the three seats available. So we have 3 seats for this course in person. And we're also going to have the BC in-person passive house construction as well for the trades. So, gladly we're going back to in-person. We're going to be able to do everything as normal. David is asking, can you take the 120B before the 128? David, great question. You could, but I would not recommend, due to the fact that for the 120B, you need to have some knowledge about passive house. So that's the reason why we put 128 first. But if you can't, you could do it. But we try not to, because sometimes the questions are going to be a little bit, you're going to have questions about whatever you would see it before in the 128. Okay. Thank you, Tiffany, for taking that question. Yes, it's bi-monthly for the built-in Canada. Correct. So schedules for master classes. PHPP expert. The PHPP expert starts in March. I'm so sorry I didn't mention the PHPP expert, ladies and gentlemen. This course is recommended for those who already have some knowledge on PHPP. This course is actually going to be taking you to towards a you're going to be qualifying to take the exam, which will give you a seal. It's a Passive House Institute seal that proves that you know a lot about PHPP. On this course, you're going to learn the nitty-gritty about commercial, multifamily, and where the mistakes normally happen, and will help you to pass on the seal. Okay, so the PHP expert, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a course that you need to have a lot of knowledge on PHP already if you want to take the best out of it. Can you take it and not challenge the exam? Yes, you can. But ideally, you would have at least a little bit of knowledge, or you already, did your first project on the PHP. We're also going to have the Masterclasses series, which is going to be starting on March 18th. That's the building enclosure layers. We're going to have the built-in Canada right there, which is going to be March 28th. If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be a Monday. And we're going to have the next one, Achieving the Passive House Standard for Existing Building, the retrofit course, on May 10th. The retrofit course, we normally tend to have 3 or 4 per year, and we limit the classes, okay? Because this course, it's the best way, it's more to have a conversation. Membership. Why do I put the slide on membership? Because membership will not only give you a lot when it comes to, help the passive house, it will support us to do our work, but it will also bring you a lot of community. We're going to join this great community. You're going to have access to the certification courses, webinar events. You're going to have access to the membership course, and we highly recommend you to take a look at it. Okay? And now, last but not least, I know some of you might be asking, what is the investment? Now that you know a lot about it. Thank you, Sandra, but it's March 8th. Maybe I'm just going to correct. I'll take that question back. Thank you, Sandra. Okay, now that you know a little bit about our course, what is the investment, right? So I know that investment is not only financial, but it's time-wise. So time-wise, I already told you the investment. So financially, I'm not going to debate about numbers right now. You're going to have this presentation, but at least you have the numbers in front of you. And then you're going to see another hot topic from our membership. You do get discounts as well. I don't like to mention discounts as the first thing to do it, but it's one of the things that I know it takes into account is going to be always a discount, okay? So that's the introduction course. This is the 120 Path Leader certification for designer and consultants. You see, if you add the 120A, B, and C individually for members or for non-members, and you see how much the bundle costs, you will see that the savings are, higher than $1,400. So it makes sense for you not to become our member, but also to take the bundle. And one of the courses are going to be pretty much for free. I would say the 120B close. Yes, the 120B will be for free. Pathway to trade certification as well. You have the bundle and you have the in-person courses. Please be aware that the in-person courses, ladies and gentlemen, the time commitment is higher. So you're committing to 24 hours. The online trade certification, it's a little bit less because you have 16 hours commitment plus the 4 hours, which is closer to 20 hours. So that's the reason why there's a price difference in there. And you'll see, and you can ask questions if you have any about the prices as well. Exams also do need some investment when it comes to financial. So you have the PHP expert, the consultant designer, and the tradesperson, and the master classes as well to make your lives easier. I mean, like all the information are going to be in the website, but it's nice for you to know as well. It's nice for you to know as well the prices for the master classes. And of course, you should also know about membership. How much does it cost to be a member of Passive House Canada? Individual, corporate level 1, 2, 3, academic, government department, and nonprofit. Just FYI, we have all this information already on the website, but corporate membership level 1 is for organizations within 1 to 49 employees, level 2, 50 to 99, and level 3, big companies, 100 and plus. Okay, and I'm close to the end of presentation, so we have plenty of time for questions, and I'd like you to raise your hand and unmute yourself due to the fact that it's just going to be our conversation made it easy. And last but not least, I'd love to invite you to our conference, which is going to be happening in May 25th and 27th, where in this beautiful city that I have the opportunity, and I'm grateful to be living here, Victoria, BC, and it's going to be in person and virtual. So you're going to have both options as well. Okay. And now we go to the end of the presentation, and I'm going to open the floor for questions. I'm glad I actually did it on time because I wanted to leave 15 minutes for questions. I'm leaving 13, so I missed 2 minutes on that one. And the last slide, I'll leave it here for you. So it's I'd like to thank you for joining us in this webinar. I put this presentation with the help of our team, Carol, Sarah, Mike, Hayden, and Deb as well. I'd like to thank our team. It's Passive House Canada. We're a family, and we're a team that support each other, and we're here to support everyone else who'd like to join our community. So what I'll do now is I'm going to close the presentation because I'm done seeing this. I want to see your faces now. Let me just move you here. And before I get to the questions, give me 1 second because I want to share with you. Okay, now I'm Kevin. I'm not going to share individually, so I'm going to put it here. So I'm sharing on the chat. If you click on the chat, the presentation should be ready for download. So you're more than welcome to download. If you have any problems downloading, please let me know. And now we have close to 12 minutes for questions and answers. So we have some questions here in the chat. Let me go back here and see. But if you do want to unmute yourself, please just raise your hand. I'll definitely prioritize those of you who are willing to raise your hand and ask questions. But there is a question from Andre here. Will there be materials and courseware that are geared towards the ICI industry? Is Passive House for residential application and certification only? Okay, there's a good question, Andre. So Passive House, it's a mistranslation from Passive House that comes from German. It's actually passive buildings. So this can be applied to any type of buildings. As I mentioned before, this is a physics-based, so it doesn't matter where you're going to apply. The only thing is you don't have to follow, but you do base your design in 5 principles. And the last, I like to say the key one would be the 6th one, which is design. Without a good design, it's really hard to achieve the certification. But it can be applied to any type of building, okay? And retrofit as well. The certification.
Are there different air tightness requirements for an industrial building then? Because
great question, my friend.
Like,
no. So the air tightness, if you're building a new house, Andre, the air tightness requirement is 0.6 air changes per hour. It doesn't matter if it's a part 3 or part 9. That's your requirement. Okay. It's just going to be, perhaps it's in a smaller house, it's just going to be a little bit harder to get that than if compared to a bigger one.
Well, no, I'm thinking about like a warehouse, or if it's like a commercial office space.
You need it. You need the air tightness, buddy. Yes, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if it's a
and the
warehouse or not.
energy EUIs as well are the same.
The energy,
It's always
yes,
always going to be consistently the same standard across all
Yes,
building
sir.
types. All right,
Yes,
that clears it up. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question, Andre. Can you teach? Can you self-teach and challenge the exam and get certified? Questions from Mike. Yes, Mike, you can. You don't need the courses. If you're a self-taught person and you have a lot of things to study by yourself, do it. I mean, I can encourage you. I mean, like myself, for example, the courses were crucial as I came from, as I'm Brazilian, and some of my knowledge was not as much on insulation and air tightness, because from where I'm from, that doesn't exist. But this is the things that you have to learn. But if you're self-taught and if you think you can challenge that, yes, you can definitely do it. Yes, Michelle, please go ahead and mute yourself.
Hi,
and thank you for joining us.
I was wondering, so in one of the beginning slides, you mentioned that Passive House Canada can provide technical support for your members. Could you expand on that, please?
Okay, so I'm gonna be dodging that bullet a little bit, because we have a technical services department right now, which we have Chris Petit. He's a certifier, which is another level from certification that comes from PHI. I like to say, he's the technical mind, and depending on what you need, we can help you. For example, we're helping them right now with product certification. Chris Petit has been doing a lot of, let's say, consultations on step codes across Canada. So if you can send us an email on what the needs that you might have, we can reply to you and get back to you how we can help you with. Does it make sense, Michelle? I just don't want to go too far and tell you later that we cannot provide, because I don't know what type of services you're looking for. But definitely, if we can't do it, we're going to point out someone who can.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, Neil asks a question. Do any of the 120 series courses requires a specific software to be used for the design portion? For example, I use Vectorworks for design, which does full BMI and has energy built in based on P. Okay, so during the courses, Neil, you don't need anything. You only need Excel, because the PHP is an Excel sheet, right? So once you're certified and you want to work towards certification of buildings, you don't need either anything. You can use only the PHP. When I recommended the design page that comes with SketchUp, is due to the fact that it actually helps you a lot and reduces the amount of work, because you actually get the everything from design page and you export on an Excel sheet already, which combines with PHP. You actually export to PHP. So instead of you going and catalog each window manually, it just goes straight and makes your life easier on the Windows sheet, for example. So I hope this answers your question, but you don't need anything related to software. I see you nodding, so I guess it's thank you, Neil. Perfect. Liam asks, are the design consultant designation recognized through the US Western? Okay, great question, Liam. So yes, so the certification that we have, it's an international certification. For example, myself, I always refer to myself because it's the easiest way, because I know the history behind what I did. So I'm a certified passive house designer. I took all my courses when I was still in Brazil. I used to travel to Germany, got my certification, and this certification is international. It can be used anywhere. Some provinces right now do accept the certification for you to do more work towards energy modeling. Okay, but it's not, let's say, it's not nationally recognized yet. but it's a quality assurance that you do know what you're talking about when it comes to passive house. And for you to certify a passive house, you don't actually need to be a designer consultant. We do advise you to actually get it, just due to the fact that it's going to make your life way easier when it comes to certification. Okay, I hope this and the membership, Leah. No, our membership, Passive House Canada membership, it's a Canadian membership, so it's something related to Passive House Canada, if that makes sense to you. So if I did not answer your question, please unmute yourself and let me know if it actually helped you.
No, that's great. Thanks, Luis.
Thank you. Chris Wolfs asks, can the PHI points apply to the CPD builder credits? Great question. All of our courses, they don't only are approved by PHI credits. If you go to our website and on the courses, you see that we do have a lot of bodies that actually grant credits for renewal certification. So you'll see the AIBC, AIAAs. Yeah, there are a lot of courses that we do have specifically for CPD builder credits. I know Carol is on the line. Carol, if you can just tell me yes or no, or
Yes, I answered the question, Luis. We are pre-approved by BC Housing, and you can find all of our courses on their directory, but also on our website, you'll see the number of hours that we're approved for.
Thank you, Carolyn. That's how it goes. You see, that's the, the Passive House Canada family team is, we always help each other. If you don't know the answer, someone else will be able to help you. And here, okay, so I think I'm running out of questions on the chat. If you have any more questions, if you want to pop on the chat, please let me know. If you want to ask more questions, just raise your hand and I'll be happy to take it. Let me see if I forgot something. Nope, I don't think I did not forget anything. So, okay, Valerie, please. Thank you. I think you're still muted, Valerie.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Valerie, I can.
Okay. Question about using the using Excel for the PHPP program. I have Open Office at home. I don't have Excel. Most Excel spreadsheets open up in Open Office. Do you know if that will create a problem or not?
That's a great question. Unless you can't, normally the Office that you're going to be using online will not allow you to make any edits. If you can edit, you will be able to use it for sure, but just make sure that you can, get the edits going. Because one of the things is normally people using those live versions, you cannot edit some of the cells. So ideally, Valerie, I would check if you can't make those edits before, committing to the course. I mean, like I cannot reply to you precisely, but I've learned that some people using this live version, not the real Excel, actually sometimes go into problems. But I would just recommend you just to check if you use normally Excel on this live version, and if it's okay, you should be okay. If it's not, I'll just tell you to try to get the online version, the real version.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so Giovanna, I saw you had your camera on. You kind of waving, so let me get to you.
Hi. Yeah, I just have a question about our credits. Like, if we do take courses and we get credits, how can we track that? Is there an online somewhere in our accounts?
Great question, Giovanna. No, unfortunately,
No.
that's on you. That's up to you to manage your own stuff. I can share with you, Giovanna, send me an email. I can share with you what I did. So I just created a simple spreadsheet with the code, date, and name of the course, and if I have the certificate, because you need the certificate as well. That's the proof that you're going to have that you actually took the course. Okay, I can share that with you, no problem. I have my stuff ready, so I can send it to you. All right. Andre, you're next, and then Chris, and then we're at the top of the hour already. Andre.
Yeah, I just had a question on, there's the certification process that we're talking about now for a designer to be certified. but then there's the building certified as well, correct?
Yes,
And
you do. Yeah.
And so to achieve for the building to receive a passive house certification, my understanding is there's like 4 categories within space, heating, cooling, totally energy usage, air tightness, and building envelope thermal comfort performance. So my question, I guess, is in order to achieve a building certification, does one have to be a certified member?
Great question, Andre. Great question. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to be a certified passive house designer to certify a building. You actually can get your certification certifying a building. For example, these are the 2 routes for you to get your certification as a designer consultant. Either you built a passive house, but you have to be the lead on the PHVP. So you have to apply with the PHVP, you have to certify, and you only get a certification whenever the building is certified, meaning you went through the PHVP process, you went through the certification process, you did the air tightness, you got your plate, and then you're good to go. This can take 2-3 years, it depends. And if you don't have a lot of knowledge on the passive house standard, or someone who really knows a lot about it, very likely you're going to fail due to the fact that overheating, or you're going to have, higher energy consumption. So we normally advise you, if you're starting your own project, have someone on board, a CPHD or CPHD right in the beginning, get your certifier on board, because these are the people who are actually going to be able to help you. But no, you don't have to be a certified designer or a consultant to certify a house. But you do need to have a certifier on board. So a certifier is the guy who's going to be tracking your documents, tracking your construction, and is going to be helping you throughout the whole process. Does it make sense, Andre?
It does. I guess I have a follow-up question in that.
Yeah.
So I'm an architect. I'm working with industrial clients. They're looking for the application of passive house on a laboratory facility.
Okay.
There's no way we can meet the EUIs just due to the nature of process loads from the equipment. Is there a way to break out like a base building condition that would meet the EUI from the base building, and then have the process loads be separated out or something like that?
Yes, my friend. I like to say that, for example, we have the fire hall now in Vancouver, where they're certifying part of the building. It's not the whole building. So it's just as long as you certify part of the building. I would not go, let's take this conversation to a side conversation, because it's going to get to the nitty gritty of the certification process. We can chat later. I mean, you have my emails already, so just send me an email. We can talk a little bit more about it, okay? And so we can take this offline if it makes sense to you.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate
Perfect. Thank you, Andre. Before we wrap, Chris, you have your hand up, man. I'm not going to leave you, with your hand up. I just please let me know your question.
Yeah, Louise, one question I have is the certified passive designer course, is that going to be in person at all in BC, like Vancouver? Is that?
Chris, we plan to have at least the 128 now. I mean, I'm working on scheduling, but I still don't have the date. But yes, we plan to go back to in person, Chris. Yes, I'm just I just don't want to commit to a date now, because there's a lot of things involved when it comes to in person. So I just need to make sure everything works properly, and I'll definitely keep an eye on our website if you just want to take in person. If you'd like to start as online right now. But yes, we are the first place that we want to throw the 128 is going to be Vancouver and in Toronto, at least for the first ones.
Okay, and then the second question I have is, do any of the, as a passive house certified tradesperson, do any of those courses kind of transfer into that designer consultant, or do you still take all 3 of the designer consultant classes?
Great question. Great question. I mean, I'd like to say, if you are certified passive house designer and you want to know a little bit more about the trades, take at least the 150B. But if you take the 120A and you want to take the 150A, you'll see that a lot of information are going to cross. But the 150A, the trades course, we give more of a trades language. We go to different perspectives, because the design is one thing, the trades is another thing, but at the end of the day, they complement each other. But in a nutshell, the 128 has a lot more information, because imagine yourself, you have 12 hours for the trades, theoretical, and the 128 you have 32 hours. So you actually deep dive in a lot of more of the processes. Does it make sense, Chris, or did I lose your question?
No, that's exactly what I was looking for. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Okay, Carol, thank you for sharing. Kevin, yes, last question, guys. I know it's 10. I know you have your time, so I'll take this last question. If you have any further questions, please email us. Kevin, go ahead.
Hi, I was hoping maybe you might want to answer my question offline or not, but as a homeowner and I'm looking to build my own home, I have been struggling trying to find somebody to really help me with passive home and specifically with the products that I'm looking to use. Like everybody, I'm a YouTuber. I look at everything across the world, right? And I'm very interested in CLT and using GLT as well. So I thought, well, if it's hard to find somebody really with everything that I'm looking for, especially in my area, maybe I take some of the courses myself. I have a better understanding of it. Is there courses more recommended specifically for that? Or what would your course of kind of direction be?
Thank you. Very good question, Kevin. Okay. First things first, I would say shoot me an email. Tell me a little bit more about your project and where you're located. I'll definitely send someone your way to help you with this. But as you sounded like a very curious guy. I'll tell you, Kevin, take the 128, get more knowledge in depth. That will help you actually to, let's say, have a high-level conversation to whoever you're going to be designing. If you have already the design ready for the building that you're planning to build, you might need to do some changes. But product-wise, material-wise, Passive House Institute, the certification does not care what you use. Passive House Canada, we do care what you use because we highly recommend you to use low embodied carbon type of materials. But for the standard itself, it focuses only on the outcomes as energy consumption and all the things that you know already about air quality, comfort, and etc. So let's say in a nutshell, I'll tell you definitely the 128 sounds like a plan for you. And let me know where you're located and what specification you're looking for to an accredited Passive House designer consultant. And at the end of the day, Kevin, if you want to take your course, if you want to take the Path Leader certification, you certify your own project, you can definitely do it. I mean, like it depends on, I like to say it depends on how much time you can invest. At the end of the day, it's our most precious asset. It's our time. So with that note, I just want to thank you all. Kevin, please just send me an email, okay? And we'll take this conversation offline. I'll definitely help you. It will be my pleasure. And on the time note speech that I just gave, thank you very much. I'm about 8 minutes over the time. I do appreciate you being here. Juan, my friend, greetings from South America. It's great to see you as well. Thank you. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I hope this presentation was actually insightful and actually got you some of the answers that you were looking for. And if I did not answer your questions, I'll be more than happy to take them offline. Again, you have my email. I'm an easy person to find, and I'd love to help you if you need any more questions. So have a great day. And please just let us know how can Passive House Canada help you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.